afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much to everyone here joining us, all of our community partners, our elected officials, partners in city government. I want to begin by recognizing the MC and the staff person who has really shepherded this process and has been the point person on the IDPVD program. Thank you to my Deputy Chief of Staff, Teresa Vanya. I also want to recognize Colonel Hugh Clements, the best police chief of the best police department in the United States of America. I also want to recognize Councilman Wilbur Jennings. Thank you very much for your leadership on all of these important issues. It's great to stand along with you as we roll this out. I want to recognize two of our strong community partners, beginning with Gabriela Domenzain, the director of the Latino Policy Institute. Gabriela has already played a leading role in a number of issues affecting our most marginalized and vulnerable community. So it means a lot to have you standing here with us. And I also want to recognize the executive director of the Providence Community Libraries, Cheryl Space, actually for the first time recognizing you as the executive director. And we appreciate how willing the libraries have been to partner with us throughout. So thank you for that, Cheryl. You know, most of us take having an ID for granted. We take it for granted until we realize how hard it is to carry out daily activities without one. We really don't think of how much it's needed to identify yourself in an emergency. For example, just in the past couple of weeks, I've heard examples of a father who went to pick up his sick daughter from school, but didn't have his own government-issued ID. It was very difficult for him to check his daughter out. I've also heard instances of adults at a CVS looking to buy medicine for a sick partner, but without having an ID that can prove who they are and their age, it makes it exceedingly difficult. And so there are countless examples of this. These ID programs at the municipal level, they kicked off in the city of New Haven many years ago when the city came to realize that many undocumented immigrants were victims of assaults and robberies, typically on Friday afternoons and Friday evenings, because it was kind of known that they would be carrying large wads of cash in their pocket because they were unlikely to have bank accounts. And so these ID programs, they were started to help the undocumented immigrant community with some of these daily transactions and doing what we can to help them out in some small way. Now it's important to emphasize that these programs, they don't give you the right to drive a car or privilege to drive a car. You can't board a plane, so it doesn't solve all of the challenges of not having citizenship or not being a documented resident. But it does go a long way to helping with many of these transactions that most of us take for granted. So while some of us may never have to worry about not having an ID, there are many in our community that do have to worry about it every single day. Our IDPVD program is accessible, and it also shows our residents that they are part of our community. It's also, frankly, a great way for all of us to show off our pride to be a resident of our great city of Providence. This ID is available to all residents ages 14 and older, and it's available regardless of your immigration status, your preferred language, your socioeconomic status, or any of the myriad other ways that are being used to divide us right now in our country. IDPVD is particularly valuable to those community members who may have difficulty obtaining and retaining other government-issued IDs. Now, of course, the most obvious one is undocumented immigrants, but these programs have proven to be very popular and very successful in other places with other communities, such as those experiencing homelessness, youth and elders, formerly incarcerated individuals. They've also been very, very popular with the LGBTQ+ community. IDPVD cards are accepted by city officials, municipal departments, and law enforcement here in Providence as proof of identity and residency. In order to access and to get an IDPVD, you have to meet all of the requirements of the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators security standards, and it draws upon the best practices of other cities' municipal ID programs to take every precaution to protect the data of those who apply. And it's important to underscore and stress that this ID is for every single resident. Every single resident. In fact, I have my own PVD ID that I'm very excited and happy to have. And I'll be using it as much as possible throughout, and I encourage every single resident to please get your IDPVD and be part of this program, if nothing else, to show off your PVD pride. This program is going to be housed in the City Hall Department of Vital Statistics, which is on the first floor of City Hall. You can apply for an IDPVD online, but you have to visit City Hall to verify your proof of identification and residence. Additionally, I want to point out that the city will not be making any copies of your documentation, but instead will only use them to verify your proof of identification and residence. And as mentioned earlier, this builds off of the best practices from other municipal ID programs in other cities. If you need translation services or your identification documents are not in English, we at City Hall will do our best to accommodate your requests and to accommodate you. The IDPVD will cost $15 for adult residents, but is available at a reduced cost for youth ages 14 to 17, reduced cost also for senior residents, and also for folks who demonstrate financial hardship. What is also exciting about the IDPVD is that users will be able to access many benefits and receive discounts to local businesses, to restaurants, to shops, to museums, and so much more. So if you're a local business owner and are interested in partnering with the IDPVD program, please contact us at providenceri.gov, or you can call the Mayor's Center for City Services at 311. We've already established some great partnerships. For example, IDPVD functions as a Providence Library card. Great to have that partnership. It can also get you into Roger Williams Park Zoo at no cost on the first Saturday of the month. It gets you $15 off of skating and bumper cars at Alex Anani City Center. That's awesome. It also gets you 10% off performances at Egas Theater, a 5% discount at Parkview Bakery Cafe, among many, many other perks throughout the city. We're actively exploring additional partnerships so that the card can eventually also function as your RIPTA bus card. We're also talking with a number of banks so that it can be accepted as proof of identification to open a bank account. The IDPVD does not replace a driver's license and does not permit you to drive. It does not prove citizenship or legal residence, and it does not provide any voting rights or any other legal privilege status beyond simply establishing proof of residency and the identity of the cardholder. However, it's important because in a time that we're facing in our country, it seems that the forces that divide us are pulling us apart, and they're stronger than they've been in any of our lifetimes. We're thrilled to announce this program that promotes acceptance and brings folks together. So I thank everyone for being here with us today, and I encourage everyone to get their PVD ID card. Thank you.